Hello, and welcome to Rampant Red Devils episode 12. Whilst during the last episode I was with Jack after Man United beat Tottenham, I am back by myself today as I'm here to analyse Manchester United's second leg Europa League quarter-final versus Granada. Now obviously, first leg was quite comfortable from Manchester United's point of view, but obviously this second leg was a case to showcase United's authority of the tie, but also to basically say, okay, we get a goal, kill off the tie, know that we can get to the Europa League semis, and then just be prepared for our next Premier League game against Burnley on Sunday. Granada, though, would hopefully come and show some more attacking intent, unlike the first leg, as obviously they need to get back into the tie to hope that they can take their maiden Europa League campaign even further. Let's see how the first half went. So, team news then from Manchester United. David De Gea was back in goal following Dean Henderson's great performance against Spurs on Sunday. Alex Telles was in at left back with Luke Shaw given a rest. Cavani continued up top. Paul Pogba was given the captain's armband, which was a major surprise to me personally. More on that later. Matic and Fred were the midfield too. Dan James was back in the side but on the bench. Rashford played despite obviously growing injury concerns. I just worried that he might get injured sooner rather than later. But thankfully he didn't, which was good. But on to the first half. From the off, United looked dominant. Granada, although they didn't really have much of the ball, and we were able to kill off the tie in 6 minutes. Alex Telles plays a beautiful whipped ball into the box with that great left foot of his. He's able to pick out Paul Pogba, who does brilliantly well instead of taking the shot on to just knock the ball towards Cavani, who's left completely marked in the box. And he performs a really fantastic first-time volley into the bottom right-hand corner, which left keeper Rui Silva with no chance, and United were 1-0 up. Cavani, having played very well against Spurs on Sunday, again scores another goal to earn the praise of being the best centre-forward at the club. In my opinion, Cavani has been the best forward at Man United this season, and I really hope that he signs a year contract extension, because if he doesn't, then we're going to have to look for a striker in the summer that's better than Martial and can score 20 goals a season. But more on that later. After the goal, Granada players seemed to lose their heads. They were trying to go in for nasty challenges. They targeted Pogba in particularly, which is very understandable considering Pogba's one of the best midfielders in the world. But no, Granada just looked a dirty side as soon as they conceded the first goal. They knew they had to score at least 3 away goals just to get back into the tie, which never really looked like happening. And on the whole, United dominated the game after that, with former Wolves loanee and Real Madrid centre-back Jesus Vallejo scoring an own goal in the 90th minute to make it another 2-0 win for Manchester United and confirmed our place in the Europa League semi-finals. It was another good performance, another good win. Fair play to Granada, they tried their best, but on the whole, we were just too good for them. It's now on to the semi-finals. So obviously some pre-match thoughts. Cavani needs a new contract. I really hope he doesn't go to Boca. We need Cavani, otherwise if we don't, then we need a striker, because let's face it, we're not going to get Haaland from Dortmund. He'll go to City or he'll stay at Dortmund or go to a better club than us. If he does come to us, I will be amazed, but we'll see what happens. Pogba, again, another solid performance, although taken off at half-time, but that was mainly because he was on a yellow card, and it seemed like the Granada's players were trying to wind him up to get him sent off. So, obviously, Europa League semi-finals, it's that time of year again. Cup semi-finals. This is the stage of a tournament where United seem to lose their heads a bit. Four cup semi-finals, 4 defeats. It's not looking good. We are the favourites now. We're facing Italian side Roma in the semi-finals after they overcame Ajax across 2 legs, which I think is quite impressive. But Roma are a very good side. They have Edin Dzeko, former Manchester City striker up front, who we were apparently linked with as a striker option before we signed Cavani. And interestingly, they also have Chris Smalling and Henrik Mkhitaryan. Smalling, who was one of the longest serving players in a Manchester United shirt before he departed for Roma. And then obviously you have Mkhitaryan, who became the enemy of his own downfall after being the player that had to leave in order to make way for generally the worst swap deal in transfer history when we signed Alexis Sanchez. So obviously semi-finals, Roma, they have some good players. They do look a good side, but realistically we should be beating them. But I said the same when we played Sevilla last season, even though they had the likes of Sergio Reguilon, Ever Banega, etc. You know, they looked a good team, but we could easily have beaten them over 2 legs, and we should have done. But we didn't. We won the first leg, but then lost the second one. So you've got to take that into account with Manchester United. It's not going to be easy. Arsenal have Villarreal. Out of those 2 teams, I know that I'd face Villarreal. Obviously, Unai Emery hoping to get one over his old club. So realistically, United are now favourites, but never say never when it comes to us, because we can either turn up and win this Europa League competition or we won't, which will be devastating. But obviously, it gives us more time to look at transfer targets. Now, obviously, in videos coming up towards the end of the season, obviously I'll do previews over the summer saying what United need to do. But I think you've got to look at Man United's transfer window 2 ways. We could get a centre-back, a right winger, and a CDM in if Cavani signs his new deal. If Cavani doesn't sign a new deal and leaves, then you have to prioritise a striker over anything else, because Cavani is just an unreal player. His movement, his finishing is just the best I've seen probably since Zlatan at the club. He has that Zlatan type vibe about him. You know, just a great striker, good in the air, great movement, great finishing. And obviously, if we can tie him down to another year, I wouldn't mind that, because it would mean our chances of signing a striker would probably be less of a priority. But it allows Cavani to hopefully be a more starting striker, as I feel that he should be. But also, it makes you think, well, if we don't sign Cavani, who are we going to get in to replace him? Because you can't get Haaland, because, well, that's never going to happen in a million years. I don't know any other strikers at this moment in time that I'd happily have over Cavani currently. So it's a bit of a dodgy one. But obviously, left-footed centre-back is a priority. If I will be watching the Villarreal Arsenal game with interest, as I get to take a look at Pau Torres more, as he's been linked recently, and he looks a very good defender. We've been linked with Varane as well from Madrid. Can't see that happening personally. And then obviously right winger, well, Jadon Sancho, maybe Pedro Goncalves, who knows. But obviously it was a great win for Man United into the semi-finals against Roma. Now we've just got to focus on our season. I will be back on Monday with my analysis of Man United's game against Burnley. United, interestingly enough, haven't won a home game against Burnley since 2013, when Chris Smalling scored twice and Robin van Persie netted a penalty in a 3-0 victory all the way back in 2013. It's been a long, long time since we've beaten Burnley at Old Trafford. And you never know what you're going to expect with Burnley, because they usually like playing well against us. And we were very lucky to win 1-0 at Turf Moor when we played them earlier in the season. So it should be an interesting game to watch, but we shall see what happens. Thank you very much for listening. If you like the video, please make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe, which are just down below, as the road to 50 subscribers continues. I will be dropping more Rampant Red Devils news, and I might be potentially starting my own channel, maybe linking to Cheltenham, but we'll see. And also, make sure to go and check out Nathan's Scouting Saints and Jack's Total Tottenham series, because those two are hard workers. They offer expert analysis on their teams, which I think it gives a good insight into teams that maybe slightly lower than Man United, but their analysis is very good. Until then, I shall see you Monday.